The Star Wars universe has no shortage of superweapons, and the CIS is no exception to this rule, with projects like the Malevolence and anti-human bioweapons being built to give the Confederacy an edge in the Clone Wars. But there was one forgotten Separatist weapon that topped them all, the Dark Reaper, an ancient and incredibly powerful machine capable of wiping all life off a planet. While the Dark Reaper was admittedly not as menacing as the Empire's Death Star, it was still definitely an equal threat to planetary populations, even more so due to its mobility. The Reaper was designed by the Sith Empire during the Great Hyperspace War, and obliterated Republic armies in a number of battles under the command of the Naga Sato. The Sith were defeated regardless of the weapon's use, but the Reaper wasn't destroyed, and was later rediscovered by Sith Lord Exar Kun 1,000 years later on Yavin 4. Kun and the Krath used it during the Great Sith War, until redeemed Jedi Knight Ulic Qel-Dromar had a crisis of conscience, and gave the Republic the means of stopping it. After a final battle on Thule, the Dark Reaper was destroyed and its parts were scattered all over the galaxy, with the Force Harvester, the Reaper's core mechanism, being buried on Raxus Prime. The Force Harvester was the most important part of the Reaper and provided its power. Upon activation, it drained the Force from all life within a certain radius in a massive burst of power, leaving a swath of wasteland behind. That in itself sounds bad, but that's actually just the Harvester charging up. When the Force Harvester has harvested enough energy, it provides power to the rest of the Dark Reaper. The Reaper can use this power to wipe out all life on entire planets in a massive energy discharge, and can also use this power to charge secondary weapons like defensive turbo lasers. The sheer power of the Force Harvester and the Dark Reaper as a whole meant that after the Great Sith War, many Sith factions hunted for the pieces of the Dark Reaper. However, these eluded all successive Sith factions until the Clone Wars. In one of the first campaigns of the war, Count Dooku personally led an effort to unearth the Dark Reaper alongside his latest personal bounty hunter, a mercenary named Sidon Prax. This whole debacle later became known as the Dark Reaper Crisis. Dooku began by sending an invasion fleet to Renvar, overwhelming the small Republic garrison on the planet and forcing them to evacuate. When the planet had fallen, Dooku entered the tomb of Ulic Qel-Dromar, which was of course located on Renvar, to find clues leading to the whereabouts of the Force Harvester. These clues led Dooku to Raxus Prime, an ancient junkyard world where he began an excavation. Dooku managed to find the Force Harvester on Raxus before the Republic was able to attack the mining site, and as the Jedi grew closer, he prepared to depart. Then Padawan Anakin Skywalker chased him aboard a shuttle just as the Separatists were taking off, where he was promptly stunned and detained by Sidon Prax. Dooku took Skywalker to the Wookiee moon of Alaris Prime, where he prepared to unleash the Force Harvester on him and a number of prisoners, as well as nearby villagers and wildlife. Skywalker managed to free himself before the Harvester was ready, however, and was able to escape it with only centimeters to spare. The Force Harvester destroyed all life in a large swath of the moon's jungle, and with this successful test, Dooku proceeded to use the weapon elsewhere, including on Bakura, Agamar, and Mon Calamari. After these attacks, the Harvester was fully charged, and Dooku prepared the final stage of his project. But Skywalker had been able to escape Alaris Prime, and his report led the Council to figure out Dooku's plan and restore the Dark Reaper. With the fate of the galaxy in their hands, they set out to stop him by whatever means necessary. To that end, they recaptured Renvar, and Anakin entered Ulic Qel-Dromar's tomb to learn the secrets of negating the Reaper's effects from the ancient Jedi spirit. With Qel-Dromar's teachings in mind, Skywalker was able to deduce that the Reaper was being rebuilt on Thule, an ancient Sith world. As the Republic sent a massive invasion force to Thule, Dooku completed the Dark Reaper and prepared to unleash it on the galaxy. He planned to use the Reaper as a tool of fear and an ultimate weapon in which he could subjugate loyalist worlds, very much like an alternate Death Star. The Republic invasion was chiefly directed at the ancient city of Kesiak, where the rebuilt Reaper was being housed. However, it quickly became apparent that Republic forces would not reach the Reaper in time. As the Superweapon prepared to fire, Anakin made a split-second decision to disobey orders and engage the Reaper alone in a Republic fighter tank. With the guidance of Ulic Qel-Dromar, he was able to resist the Reaper's effects long enough to trigger the mechanisms required to release the Force Harvester and then blow up the core of the Superweapon. As with the Death Star, this destroyed the entire weapon, and the threat of the Dark Reaper was gone once and for all. So that's the story of the Dark Reaper, a rather unknown event that could have destroyed the Republic in a blink of an eye if not stopped by Anakin. Little fun fact about this story, it was based on the plot of a small 2002 video game called Star Wars The Clone Wars, not to be confused with the TV series that would of course air later. And on that note, talking about Star Wars games, if you want a Star Wars game where you can play with the community and you can play as a clone trooper, stormtrooper, Jedi, whatever you want, a Sith, even Darth Vader, then go and check out our Clone Wars and Imperial roleplay servers. I'm not going to bombard you guys too much with this, but for any of the gamers out there who have Gmod, just join our server and I promise you'll have a lot of fun. Anyways guys, as always, thanks for watching and I hope to see you in the next video.